Good morning to you all. I think about politics all day, all night. Think about it when I go to sleep and dream about it. When I go and eat, I have conversations about it. It's just part of who I am. And sometimes it drives me crazy because I get so consumed and wallow in politics so much. But there's just so much that's wrong with this country that I feel compelled to have to comment on it. It just occurred to me, and I got a question for you. Guess what? Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump have in common. I know the obvious. They're both politicians. They're kind of petty, both of them. Polarizing kind of describes Pelosi and Trump, and that's an understatement. They're both very, very partisan. So, what else do they have in common? I'm talking about Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump. Not only are they both opposed to Medicare for all in the year 2020, during the 1990s, Nancy Pelosi, as a congresswoman in San Francisco, and Donald Trump, as a businessman, urged that the United States adopt single payer national health insurance. We call it Medicare for all today. It's true. Nancy Pelosi used to support Medicare for all. President Donald Trump used to support Medicare for all. They are both opposed to Medicare for all in the year 2020. You heard me correctly. Imagine this. Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump's position on healthcare in the 1990s was to the left of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton during the 1990s, to the left of Hillary Clinton in 2016, and to the left of Barack Obama during his presidency. Well, let me just back it up a little bit. Barack Obama was also in support of Medicare for all at one time, single payer. One of the reasons why I couldn't support Obama in 2008 is that Hillary Clinton actually threw that in his face. And Barack Obama's like, I don't support single payer health care. He denied it. Like it's something to be ashamed of. Like you got to run for cover. And I knew in 2008, this is why. And I was about ready to get on board the Obama bandwagon. This is when he said that he was not in favor of Medicare for all, single payer. I knew this guy's going to go fuck us over the way other corporate Democrats did. As usual, I'm correct. Sometimes I hate being consistently correct. So, I mean, what happened? The corporate special interests. And I've said this over again. The insurance companies pretty much controls the Republican Party. That's a no-brainer. It ain't that much different in the Democratic Party. Yeah, there are just a handful of Democrats that favor Medicare for all. But the other Democrats, they're not that different from Republicans. I mean, for crying out loud, the Affordable Care Act was a Heritage Foundation plan. And when I found out that this was a Heritage Foundation plan, I was like, Obama, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, this is the shit we get from both parties. And the Overton window shifts further and further to the right on this question. There was a time Democrats supported national health insurance, what we call Medicare for all, or single payer. There was a time, I mean, Jimmy Carter supported it. Walter Mondale supported it. Michael Dukakis supported it. Lyndon Johnson, John F. Kennedy, Adlai Stevenson, Harry Truman, Franklin Roosevelt. Bill Clinton came along. And this is why I said Bill and Hillary Clinton turned the Democratic Party into a sewer. Because to the Democrats, it's still fucking 1992. Oh, we got to go and recreate that the Clinton legacy. What legacy? Democrats lost both houses of Congress for the first time since the 1950s. Obama copied that Bill Clinton shit while he was president. Both houses of Congress went to the Republicans under Obama. And mark my words, with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in 2022, even if the Democrats get the Senate by a razor-thin margin in a few days, it ain't going to be long, because the Republicans are going to retake the House in 2022, and they're going to take back the Senate. And even with this 2020 election, the Democrats lost their seats, even though they still have a technical majority. So, the healthcare keeps getting defeated. And Obamacare, it was not a victory. It was a failure. The Republicans, in some ways, are smarter than the Democrats, because they know how to string the Democrats along and intimidate them. They fucking tricked the Democrats into voting for a healthcare plan that they were not entirely sure about, while the Republicans knew that that's what they were going to do, and they just stepped back and let the Democrats do this, and bammo, this piece of shit healthcare plan. The law that forces people to buy private health insurance was taken up to the Supreme Court, because the Republicans pretended they were against it. And, and maybe the grassroots Tea Party were sincerely against it, but the leadership, maybe with the exception of Ron Paul. Ron Paul has a principle. I respect Ron Paul, even though he was caught up in the Tea Party. And even though he's wrong on healthcare, I do respect Ron Paul. But your Michelle Bachmans and your Glenn Becks and your Rush Limbaughs and all these motherfuckers that were going along with this Tea Party shit, they were really for this piece of shit Romney Care healthcare plan. Remember, the U.S. Supreme Court, John Roberts, Chief Justice John Roberts, who was appointed by George W. Bush, was the deciding vote to declare Obamacare constitutional. I'd rather have nothing than to have the Affordable Care Act. But I understand my fellow progressives and fellow leftists that feel like it's better than nothing. The Overton window shifts further right. Enter Bernie Sanders in the year 2016 and in the year 2020, when he decided to run for president. Thanks to Bernie Sanders, he finally started to make Medicare for all, single payer, national health insurance, true universal health care, a mainstream idea. I remember people thought I was crazy 30 years ago and even 20 years ago when I said, oh, let's do what Canada, let's copy the Canadian system, let's copy the British system. And people look at me and they thought I was out of my fucking mind. And there's still people think I'm out of my fucking mind today. But there's a lot of people that are very receptive toward Medicare for all. There are even Republicans who are kind of okay with Medicare for all, because they know what's happened with healthcare in this country. But you got the right-wing attacks, from talk radio, from Fox News, from evangelical TV pastors talking about the evils of socialized medicine, when the real evil is the insurance companies. Sarah Palin was correct when she talked about death panels, but not in a way that a lot of people would interpret it. We already have death panels. They're called private health insurance companies. And it's not just the right wing. You got the corporate Democrats that attack Medicare for all, single payer, national health insurance. I mean, you got Joe Biden. He promised that he would never support Medicare for all, that he will veto it. You got, you got the corporate Democrats that they're going to make sure. When you have people like Dianne Feinstein at a forum shouting back at activists saying that we will not have Medicare for all, no single payer system. I say, fuck you, Dianne Feinstein. You heard me. I didn't stutter. And the media talking shit about Medicare for all. I remember Wolf Blitzer in 2007 when Michael Moore came up with that brilliant movie, Sicko. Whatever you all think of Michael Moore, he had an awesome film called Sicko. And Wolf Blitzer and Dr. Sanjay Gupta on CNN went and shit all over Michael Moore's movie. And Michael Moore was outraged. But there are people out there that thinks that Wolf Blitzer is an ultra far left liberal socialist commie. Well, the lies are said. Oh, people love their health care plan. They don't want the government to interfere between them and their health insurance because, the employer-based coverage is so wonderful in a lot of these plans. Bullshit. Employer-based coverage is a farce. People are, even if they have great care, sometimes they're in a job that they hate because if they go and leave that job, their health coverage is gone. And is it really freedom? To all you conservatives who favor limited government and freedom, man, freedom. Is it really freedom when you're forced in indentured servitude? Because that's what the problem is with the private insurance companies when it's tied in with this concept of employer-based coverage. It means indentured servitude. You want that health care, you better work for us. If we had Medicare for all, there's going to be a lot of people that can go to a job that they might like a hell of a lot better because it won't be tied in to their employment. You get fired, your health care remains with you. You don't like this job, if you want to get that job over there that's more meaningful, or a job that more meaningful or what have you, you can go to that job because it's not tied in with your health care. There's no choices with employer-based coverage. You got a freaking network. You got this limited amount of doctors, but if you like that doctor over there, you can't do that doctor because that doctor is not in your network. Is that really freedom? And then, of course, let's talk about COVID. COVID. People are losing that precious employer-based coverage because companies are shutting down. A lot of these companies that got free money from the Treasury by Steven Mnuchin with the promise of not laying people off, and then $4.5 trillion go to these damn companies all around the country, and a lot of these companies still lay their workers off anyway. You damn right I say force the vote. I say force the vote 100 times. Force the vote. And thank you to the online left. Thank you to Jimmy Dore for coming up with this idea. And thank you for Kyle Kulinski. Crystal Ball, Brianna Joy Gray, even Sam Cedar, who hates Jimmy Dore's guts, is appreciative of this idea that he came up with, forced to vote. I'm not even a sports fan, but I became a fan of Justin Jackson of the LA Lakers because he's bringing up forced to vote too. Meanwhile, back in the U.S. House of Representatives, we have Nancy Pelosi, who is feeling the heat from the squad that they're not going to go and express interest in forcing the vote, at least most of them, with the exception of Cori Bush of Missouri and Jamal Bowman from New York. They are indicating or hinting that maybe they won't support Nancy Pelosi. And if that's the case, those two members of Congress are going to be instantly my favorite member of Congress. Sorry to say this, AOC, that I will probably end up favoring them over you. As much as it hurts me to say this. And Nancy Pelosi, being the petty bitch that she is, she denies AOC her committee's assignments and gives it to Kathleen Rice. If we don't need it, if y'all didn't think we needed an independent Labor Party prior, because really, honestly, the Democrats are basically, they're America's other conservative party. And even Frank Llewellyn from Democratic Socialists of America, when I met him in Chapel Hill back in 2008, he even acknowledged that the Democrats is the second capitalist party. The Republicans being the dominant capitalist party, and the Democrats is the other capitalist party. Yet DSA keeps, as wonderful as they are, they keep, going back into their rut, spinning in their wheels, trying to shift the Democrats left. And I say that because I've been in and out of DSA myself over the years. But we need a freaking independent Labor Party in this country. Political party that can have the AFL-CIO and all of organized labor in an electoral umbrella with our socialist movement, DSA. I will argue even the Socialist Party USA. I will argue, various social justice movements being more or less kind of like a Fabian Society of sorts for America. This is what we need. And we need to force the vote. Because how sad it is that the scummiest of politicians deep down know what the right thing is. How sad is it that Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi both know what needs to be done in terms of health care, but they won't do it. This country. I mean, sometimes I sound like I'm anti-American, and I really am not. I mean, there's things about the United States that I do love. I think our constitutional system of government, the fact that we are a representative democracy, is a wonderful thing. We have done a lot of wonderful things in the United States and around the world. We've done a lot of shitty things too. One of the shitty things that we've done is we denied health care to Americans. If they're down on their luck, it's kind of like, well, fuck them. And, so, I mean, I love the American people enough that I want them to have health care when they need it and not be based on what's inside their wallet, but based on when they need it and their needs are met. Have health care for all now, have Medicare for all at a minimum. We really need to copy the British NHS, but have Medicare for all. It will solve so many problems. our trade policies would be readjusted for the better, because a lot of companies would stay here in the United States, because Medicare and medical costs, healthcare coverage is tied in with labor costs. You get rid of that, you keep companies here. As a result, you'll have fewer people on the welfare rolls, because people will be willing to work, and they don't have to choose between not working and getting public assistance such as Medicaid, and or playing by the rules and working and not getting the health care coverage. It will not be a means tested program. It'll be an entitlement, a universal entitlement, and it ain't a free ride. I remember Bill Clinton once referred to single parents as a free ride. Fuck you, Bill Clinton. This craziness got to stop in the United States with the way we do healthcare. We got to go and follow what our friends across the ocean, how they conduct their healthcare system. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you were horrified and totally just incensed by what I have to say, comment. We can have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you that if you're passionate about something and you have a platform, utilize it. If you don't have a platform, by all means, create that platform, especially if you're passionate about something, utilize it, because we're the muckrakers of our time. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button. I am American social democracy. Peace, and Bernie Sanders for president, year 2024.